Have you ever wondered what really makes a company tick? I mean, behind every single successful business, whether it's the coffee shop on your corner or a giant tech company, there's this hidden blueprint. It dictates everything about how it works. Today, we're going to decode that blueprint: organizational structure. Seriously, think about it for a second. How does this simple idea, one that maybe started in someone's garage, actually scale up to become this massive, coordinated global giant? The answer isn't just about having a great product. It's about a deliberate, evolving design for how people and tasks get organized. So let's start at the very beginning. Why does this structure thing even matter? So, why are we dedicating all this time to talking about structure? Well, because it's the fundamental framework. It's what determines who does what, who reports to whom, and, how all the different pieces of the puzzle actually fit together to hit a common goal. And this quote right here, it gets right to the heart of it. A company structure isn't something that just happens by accident. It's a series of really deliberate choices. It's all about how you decide to divide and conquer all the work that needs to get done. And as we're about to see, making the right choice at the right time is absolutely crucial for survival and growth. Every great company has an origin story, right? And usually it starts small. This first phase, it's almost always dominated by one single powerful force: the founder. I want you to picture that classic startup story. The founder has this amazing vision, and they make every single call. I mean, everything, from the product design all the way down to paying the bills. This intense centralized control leads us to the simplest business structure there is. And that's the entrepreneurial structure. It's super lean, it's incredibly fast, and it is completely dependent on the owner. The best way to think of it is like a wheel. The founder is the hub right in the middle, and every single thing revolves around them. But here's the catch, the big trade-off. The huge advantage is speed. I mean, decisions are made in a flash. The founder sees a shift in the market, and they can pivot on a dime. But the disadvantage is a really hard ceiling. The entire company is limited by the owner's personal bandwidth, and success itself creates a massive problem that this structure just can't solve. So, what happens when that business finally takes off? You get more customers, you hire more employees, and everything just gets more complex. The founder can't be the hub for everything anymore. It's time for the company to evolve, and that means introducing some new rules to the game. As you start adding people, you naturally begin to create layers of management. That line of authority, from the top executive all the way down to the person on the front line, that's called the scalar chain. And a longer chain means you've got more structure. And let's be real, any single manager can only effectively oversee a certain number of people. That's their span of control. Once the team grows beyond that number, well, you need more managers. And that forces the company to start specializing. This whole process naturally leads us to the functional structure. This is probably the one you're most familiar with. You basically group people by what they do. All the accountants, they go in the finance department. All the salespeople, they're in sales. You get the idea. It's a very logical way to organize expertise. The upside here is all about efficiency. You get economies of scale, and you develop some really deep expertise in each area. But the downside is a big one. Departments can turn into their own little kingdoms, or silos, totally focused on their own goals. You might hear this called empire building, and that can really slow down decisions and create some serious friction between, say, the marketing and production teams. Okay, but what happens when a company gets really, really big and diversified? When it's making totally different products or it's operating in countries all over the world, a simple functional structure just starts to crumble under the pressure. You need something more robust. And that brings us to the divisional structure. Here, you basically break the company into smaller, self-contained units. So you might have a North American division and a European division, or maybe a division for cars and a whole other one for motorcycles. Each of these divisions acts like its own little mini company with its own marketing, finance, and production teams. Now, for even more complexity, especially in project-heavy industries like tech or consulting, you get the matrix structure. This is a hybrid model. An engineer, for example, might report to the head of engineering and to the project manager for the new gadget they're working on. The whole goal is to get the best of both worlds, that deep functional expertise, but also a laser focus on the project. All right, so let's put these side by side to really see the difference. The functional structure, it gives you incredible specialization, but it can be super slow to adapt. The divisional structure solves for that by creating focus and accountability, but the downside is you end up duplicating a lot of roles. And then there's the matrix, which tries to get the best of both by being flexible, but it introduces a huge challenge, that dual command, where an employee might get conflicting orders from two different bosses. Tricky. So all the traditional models we've just talked about are about drawing clear lines and putting people in boxes. But today's world is so much faster, so much more connected, and that's leading to these new, more fluid structures that are breaking down the old walls. Let's use a sneaker company as an example. In a hollow structure, they might design the cool sneakers in-house, but outsource the manufacturing and the accounting. In a virtual structure, they might be nothing more than a brand and a website, outsourcing the design, the manufacturing, and the sales to different partners around the world. And in a modular structure, they design the final shoe, but they'd outsource the creation of the soles to one company, the laces to another, and the fabric to a third, acting only as the final assembler. Now, this is the part where it all comes together. A company's structure isn't just some abstract chart on a wall. No, it's the engine that actually executes its strategy. The structure has to match the plan. Think about it like this, using something called Anthony's hierarchy. Right at the top, you've got senior leaders making the big, long-term strategic decisions like, we're going to enter a new market. In the middle, you have managers making tactical plans to make that happen, like, okay, let's develop a marketing plan for that new market. And at the bottom, junior managers handle the operational, day-to-day stuff, like, I'll schedule the social media posts for the launch. For any of this to work, all three levels have to be perfectly aligned, and the company's structure is what makes that happen. Let's take that marketing launch as an example. The tactical plan involves the famous 4 Ps: product, price, place, and promotion. Now, in a simple functional structure, the product team, sales team, and marketing team might all be working in their own little bubbles, causing a total mess. But a matrix structure could create a dedicated launch team, with people from each function reporting to a single project lead. You see, that structure is literally built to execute the strategy of a powerful, coordinated launch. So let's wrap this all up. If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that organizational structure is so much more than just a bunch of boxes on a page. It's the company's entire operating system. It defines its capabilities, its speed, and its ability to adapt, and ultimately, to succeed. Whether you're running a company, leading a team, or you're just a part of one, that structure is shaping your work every single day. It's not just a blueprint for the business. In a way, it's a blueprint for your own success within it. Definitely something to think about.